Good.
All right, we're ready.
All right, thank you. All right, morning, everybody. We're here to do the business of the people at a special call meeting. We've got a few matters that are before us. We've got one addendum item that, if there's no objection, we'll accept that. That'll be the one item that we'll talk about on the floor, and the rest of the items we'll talk about in closed session. So we'll call this meeting to order. If there's no objection. All right, without saying there be no objection to the addendum item, Chair recognizes Attorney Brown. Attorney Brown, you're muted.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Happy holiday greetings to the mayor and commissioners. We'll request a motion to go into executive session for the discussion.
So moved. Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, Commissioner from the 8th with the motion, Mayor Pro Tem with the second.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fenoy,
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Son,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias, Mr. Bobby Williams. Mr. Mayor, is he out? Okay. Mr. Dennis Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Marion Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
That motion carries with Mr. Sias and Mr. Bobby Williams out.
Okay, Madam Clerk, thank you. All right, we're going to transition here, and then we'll be back as we move into a closed session.
I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor, you there? Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
We-
well, if you're gonna announce it,
We're
We're on the floor.
you're gonna announce an interim?
on next week.
Is that an absolute hire the mayor? You know, been with the commission.
Yes. Not on that, but you're fully aware.
I'm asking for clarity, Mr. Mayor. I'm not being, I have read, and I've been fair, I have read that before, but I was wondering whether that was a commission granted that, or that's a state statute or something.
Well, deal with that. You can deal with that later. I don't think it's necessary for us to deal with that at this point.
Well, we may want to leave it like it is then. That's why I'm asking the question. Mr. Brown, can you look at the clause, please?
It is. I mean, the previous appointee as the EMA director is no longer employed by the city of Augusta.
Well, Mr. Mayor, but you have to realize you just told us not to put that together. I don't think you had the authority to do that when you're both together now. Therefore, that's all I'm asking. Mr. Brown, can you check on, see what the statute is on that and give the commission an update on that? If it's the mayor's appointment as an absolute, I have no problem with that. But if the commission got to say so on that, we ought to weigh in on it. And I'm not saying I'm opposed to it.
Well, there's always, as you well know, the mayor has always appointed the EMA director.
No.
It's before I became the mayor. That was the case when Deke was the mayor. That was the case when Bob Young was the mayor. So.
But they left them together though. They were together. That's why we lost Pam Tucker. Chief Few became that. And if it's person after that, I think.
Together. You don't have to leave it together. Jesus Christ.
But you can leave, man. Nobody think about you.
All right, we've got, we're back out on the floor. Chair recognizes Attorney Brown. You're muted.
I have one more motion to craft regarding the EMA fire chief matter. The motion is pertaining just to as interim fire chief.
That is correct.
Okay, the question would be, do we want as a government not to have an EMA director for any period of time?
We currently have someone who's operating as the deputy EMA director and has been in that role for a number of years at this point.
And who is that, Mr. Mayor?
That's Mia Lucas.
We haven't assigned. This goes back to what
Oh.
the administrator said a few minutes ago.
He is EMA director.
Excuse me?
We have not been without EMA support since the commission made the decision regarding Chief Chris James.
Would you then consider at least making her an interim EMA director so that we have one? Because I do not believe there's anywhere in her, I don't know if it is in her title that she is a EMA director.
I think all of you are fully aware that Mia Lucas is the EMA deputy director. Those documents are also in HR. And so no one should be surprised or give any sense of surprise that that's not the case. So what I would tell you is
before the 16th, if she got any cancellation, before the 16th on Saturday, you give me a holler.
Mr. Mayor, let me ask a final question.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Being appointed as the interim fire chief, that was the decision that the commission has made. That is what you just voted on previously, and you're affirming that today.
In the commission.
Ms. Bonner.
So if we need to talk about other personnel matters, then we're going to go back into closed session and have a conversation. But that's not why we're here on the floor right now. And at the appropriate time, we'll schedule a meeting about that. If we need to come back for a fourth special call meeting, then I'll certainly call one. But we've got a matter in front of us, 3 matters that we are prepared to go ahead and respond to. And that's what we'll do today. Attorney Brown. We'll have a motion close meeting affidavit.
Are we back on the floor?
You can see since
We've been on
11/29, the week of 11/29, we had 400, and then.
Mr. Brown, I
where?
still have information to ask you for
12/6,
the body.
we went to 442 admissions.
Excuse me?
I still want that, I like that
We're
information.
waiting on you to announce that you'll entertain the motion for closed meeting affidavit.
Okay.
Was kind of where we might max out at.
I was saying I want that information still about the EMA director.
I think you've asked Ms. Bonner to send that information to you.
That's not what I asked.
He asked the attorney to do that.
Okay?
Okay.
Whoever needs to send that information to Commissioner Hassan and to the rest of the members of the commission, please do so.
Will do.
Wayne, you don't have to send it to me.
Attorney Brown?
Okay, I won't send it to him. Okay,
We need a motion on the closed meeting affidavit, Attorney Brown.
I've asked for
Yes.
that twice.
yes, I was working on the motions. The conversation never stopped long enough for me to get it done.
Okay.
Mayor, Commissioners, we would like to request a motion to execute the closed meeting affidavit.
So moved.
moved. Second.
Mr. Garrett and Ms. Davis. Okay.
Yes.
Moved.
Voting.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fenoy,
It was only a couple of days ago
Mr.
that
Fenoy.
President.
Oh, you muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sun,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias,
Been in there for several
out.
months.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Marion Williams.
There was a joint statement put
Mr.
out.
Marion Williams.
He on the phone.
Yeah.
We're on the floor.
Okay. That motion carries with Mr. Sias out.
Just several days ago. They said that.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
What we
Recognize Brown.
And they go on to say, this is a developing.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, we request a motion to accept the resignation of Attorney Jeffrey Alls effective January 8th, 2020, and pay him 4 months severance pay in accordance with Augusta's personnel procedure policies. Mr. All will be required to perform consulting regular duties during the severance period in accordance with Augusta personnel policies and procedures.
So move.
Second.
Voting.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fenoy,
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sun,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias, out. Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Marion Williams.
Yes.
That motion carries with Mr. Sias out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Brown.
Regarding the next motion regarding the compliance department, when that was made effective, finance usually likes next page.
You're breaking up, Mr. Brown.
Pardon?
You're breaking up.
Okay. Can you hear me clear now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Regarding compliance position, there was not a date given of the effective date. Accounting usually asks for it to begin at the beginning of the next pay period for easy accounting purposes. What date is the pleasure of the commission?
Next pay period, as you said. If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Hassan is now running for mayor of Augusta.
I've heard words.
I think you've already been elected, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, He-
Did you vote for me?
All
I
right.
get no
Commissioner,
response.
state your inquiry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I was just honoring what our attorney had said. I think he brought an excellent point there that we probably had not considered, and I think it just makes sense at the start and beginning of the next pay period.
If that is acceptable, we'll request a motion for the appointment of Phyllis Johnson to the position.
You muted.
Mr. Mayor, you muted him?
No, he broke up. Attorney Brown,
I'm not muted.
You're breaking up.
Wow.
We did, yeah.
could you restate the motion?
Yes, I'm sorry. We're in this new building over here, and our communications seem to be affected. We'll request a motion for the appointment of Ms. Phyllis Johnson as Compliance Director with an annual salary of $125,000 and the customary benefits of a director to be made effective at the beginning of the next pay period.
So move.
Second.
Second.
That's Mr. Khan and Mr. Franum.
Yes. Voting.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fenoy,
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hassan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias out, Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Marion Williams.
Yes.
That motion carries with Mr. Sias out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Brown, next item. Or is that it?
One more.
Fire Department.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
We'll request a motion for the appointment of Mr. Shaw Williams as Director and Chief of Augusta Fire Department with an annual, a motion to request the appointment of Shaw Williams as the interim Chief and Director of Augusta Fire Department with an annual salary in accordance with Augusta's personnel policies and procedures for interim positions, along with the customary benefits to be made effective December the 2nd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Davis and Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
All right. Are we voting, sir?
Voting.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fenoy,
No.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hassan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias out, Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Marion Williams.
Yes.
That motion carries with Mr. Fenoy voting no, Mr. Sias out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I believe we've got one more item, the addendum item that was on the special call meeting agenda. And Madam Clerk, if you'll introduce that for the record.
That is to discuss Augustian's agenda initiative. And I need to, I guess, send it. Commissioner Williams has provided some supporting documentation, and I'll be sending that out to you now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Have you all received it?
Think so, Madam Clerk.
Okay,
And Jeff just put it up on the screen for us.
we can get him to do that.
Yeah, if you send it to me, Ms. Bonner, I can do
Okay,
that.
all right.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Hassan drinking on the job.
You late. They've been stopping me drinking. That's a fact. I wasn't drinking nothing before I got here.
Okay, I believe Commissioner from the ninth. This is your item. Go ahead, sir. Commissioner from the ninth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To all my colleagues, I voted early, which I don't normally do, but I voted early, and when I exited the Bell Alternative, I voted. There was a booth outside, and the lady had some flies she was passing out. She was trying to get out of the weather, but she had a covered canopy type thing there. So I picked up one. And when I saw this, I was very disappointed. Now, if Jeff showed the other side of this thing, I guess Ms. Bonner said the front and rear. The other side talks about all of the things that Augusta have not done. And if you look at the other side, it lists about, that's upside down, Jeff, but it lists about 15 to 20 different things that the city of Augusta need to be improved on or being done. As an elected official, I really took issue with that. I couldn't understand it. So I figured the mayor had already talked to somebody. Mrs. Kendrick's been knowing for years, fine fella, been on the Development Authority. But when I saw this Augusta's agenda and wanted people to attach to that, as if we hadn't did anything. We don't even need to be here. No other commission need to be here. If another group, and especially the tax commissioner, have all of the answers and have all of the power. I'm very upset about this, Mr. Mayor. And I figured you had talked with him and you and him maybe had worked something out. I don't know that for a fact. I hadn't discussed anything with him, but I'm very disappointed. If you look at that list of stuff that we are supposed to be handling, now Mr. Kendrick is on the Development Authority. I can't tell you one restaurant they brought here. I can't tell you one business except the coffee place out here and the deal that was made with the on the pension property down there that we haven't probably because of the parking. Somebody needs to say something. Somebody needs to address these issues. Now, my first question, Mr. Mayor, to you is, were you involved? Do you have any knowledge?
No, Commissioner, this is my first time seeing this document. I don't know the origin of it, what I'm seeing right here today. Clearly, again, at first blush, you've got an elected official, the tax commissioner, who I guess it appears you've got a private organization that's been created that, quote, is interested in the issues that we are working on. I think the bigger challenge is that the commission has acted its responsibility as it relates to development, you've got the tax commission who is leading the, that would be my broader concern. And I think I've raised that in other settings before, but this is the first time that I've seen this document. I think as we step into 2021, we clearly need to have a holistic discussion about the city's role in economic growth and development projects. I've said that, and I've been saying since 2015. But if you look at what you have just provided us with, you know,
I mean, and I get that, Mr. Mayor, but I'm upset because an elected official.
We're working on racial equality. I mean, that's the reason why we're having a discussion about the non-discrimination ordinance. You know, you've got the issues of affordable housing that we worked on. That was what Beacon Station was about. So yeah, I'm not sure, you know, what the genesis of this is.
Well, how can we have, Mr. Mayor, my question is, how can we have the development authority who got no time limit, and I hope this new commission understands that, got no time and can step out front and do this in a public forum where people are coming to vote, giving out this type of information as if we don't exist. Now, I think, first of all, they got too much authority. They hadn't done anything since they've been there except mess this city up. This is my opinion. We got a parking element down on the pension property. We can't seem to get nobody there because they making deals. But we as elected officials get the blame for, Mr. Mayor. Now, somebody else ought to be upset about this besides myself. Ought not be something that we just brushed aside. Now, if he wants to be the mayor and look like that's what I see, he can run for that. He can't take the platform that people have voted for him to do that and step out on that. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I think you raise a number of real concerns or issues, but I think again, you know, certainly I can only speak to the issues that you raise as it relates to this right here. The commission is who put him in the role as the development authority person. That's an appointment that the commission has. I certainly was not involved in that. So again, from the mayor's standpoint, I've been real clear from day one about what the city should be doing from an economic growth and development standpoint. We've got two entities, one that's effectively being starved out right now that I think we need to have a conversation about in January of 2021. The Downtown Development Authority that has done incredible work around businesses in downtown and all the way over to Lane and Walker Bethlehem, working with a host of other entities. And then you've got the Economic Development Authority that more recently has encroached and trying to get involved in the issues of retail. So I think there's an appropriate way for us to have this conversation and kind of talk about what that needs to look like going forward. I think I would hope that our administrator, having come from South Fulton and immediately before he came to Augusta, they were working on a deal there. But that was a city-led effort, working with economic development professionals. But again, working with the mayor there, working with the council there in South Fulton on a huge deal. And I think that that's where we have to be in the city of Augusta. I've long held that. I've held that, and I've been pretty consistent for the last 6 years about how we should go about doing that. But this is my first time seeing this, Commissioner.
But Mr. Mayor, let me say this. When the project came up about the
down. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay, when the project came up, Cal Ray, I think that's his name, with the Development Authority, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I spoke with him about it. He talked about what a good project was and how it could be done and all these other things. Someone told him not to even talk to the guy who wanted to do this. He had already interviewed with the newspaper, talked about how great it was and what a good thing to be for Augusta because somebody quiet him up. When the media had already taught him in the beginning, he couldn't retract that. So the media ended up putting it out there. But he wouldn't even have a conversation with nobody else about it because the people, whoever put the quiet edicts on him, had him, well, he couldn't say nothing. Now I am sick and tired of the dog not wagging the tail wagging the dog. It don't make good sense. It ain't and it's supposed to be like that. And as long as we let this kind of stuff go, we gonna continue that. I talked to Mr. Kendricks about the project. He said it was a good project. I said, well, it's a good project. Then he changed it, well, it's a great project. If it's a great project, why are you not behind it? If I had brought to Development Authority, he said, it would have went forward. I am sick of that. I'm tired of folk playing game with taxpayers' money, and then you got to sit there and act like you don't know what's going on. I'm tired of these wonder boys coming up with all the answers. His hands is in everything we do in this government. Everything we do in this government, he got a part in it. Something wrong with that, Mr. Mayor.
I don't disagree with how that's happening. All right, going to the commissioner from the 6th. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I think we've, this is not to dismiss Commissioner Williams' concern, but I do think when we start talking about the Downtown Development Authority, EDA, this project that you're looking at here currently, the issues may be related from an economic perspective, but this program, if you look at it, it says it's a talented 10th youth leadership group who are addressing these issues. And you got about 12 young persons there addressing these subject matters that's on there. So this is not the Economic Development Authority, not the Downtown Development Authority, not any of those authorities in fairness to this conversation that we're having. This is a totally separate conversation. Also, when you're talking about being involved, not only do Mr. Kendricks have a group of this magnitude, I think he also has a youth, much younger group that he's dealing with, young kids and stuff in the high schools and things of that nature. So he has several groups going on now. Still, to Commissioner Williams' real overall concern, well, not overall, initial concern about location and where it was. That could be problematic. And I think, and I talked to Ms. Lynn Bailey this morning to try to get my arms wrapped around this. From my conversation with Commissioner Williams yesterday, I went through to try to get a flyer. Actually, I didn't know what those flyers look like. I have seen these flyers before, but I didn't have no idea what was being passed out yesterday. And so and so when I went through yesterday, nobody was out there. I guess the weather was inclement, so I was not able to get it to see exactly what it was. However, I talked to Ms. Bailey this morning, and she said in many ways she had authorized them to be able to do that, probably not so much in the close proximity. They probably need for moving forward, move back to 150 yards because it's not necessary. It wasn't a what you call when people exit the poll. When you do those pollings, when you come out of the poll, it's not that. So move away. But other than that, she didn't see a problem with it if they moved 150 yards back. But for the record, this is not the Economic Development Authority. Anything. This is a group called the Talented 10th that are looking at and doing a deep dive into these subject matters. And many times that we on a commission don't do. Thank God we got a great administrator now that can help us get to where we need to get. So I just wanted to try to clear that up for the most part. I do understand Commissioner Williams' problem. If he was talking about location, I think he has a legitimate concern there. And I think that's going to be addressed.
I don't think
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, that's BS.
Yeah,
and bulls don't skate. Hold it, Mr. Mayor, that's BS, and bulls do not skate. I called Commissioner Hartson to tell him about it as well. I'm tired of people making excuses. Now, he's an elected official. Now, I've been in half the schools in Richmond County. A person can get any group they want to and do anything. You can't come on city property. You can't be an elected official and put out a piece like this talking about you with a group. Now, that's crazy to me. And Ben Hassan knows better than that, Mr. Mayor. Don't play me like that. Now, you play somebody else, but that's not real. The issue he addressing, the authority he has with the Development Authority, with the amount of elected official power he has there, that's crazy, man. You can't do that. You got to step out of the box.
What makes it illegal?
You got to step out of the box and get by yourself. You can't use your political platform to get out there and do what he's doing now. And you know better than that. No, because you going on with the politics of it. You rubbing elbow like you've been doing for the whole time you've been here, doing the same junk. Just like you did with Lynn Bailey, like you to save all again. You're another Kendricks in a different suit, that's all.
Commissioner, you brought it to me. I'm gonna do my
own. That's right, I called you because I was upset about it. I called you and told you about it.
But what's wrong with it?
I see a lot. If you don't see nothing wrong with it, I see a lot wrong with it. Playing them doggone politics game, I ain't got time for that.
You say all the time that we ain't doing nothing, and time somebody try to do something, you criticize them.
You elected. So you giving him your authority. Why you ain't doing nothing then? Why you ain't doing it? You said you just said, I said we ain't doing nothing. What have you tried to do? What have you brought? What have you talked about?
Well, you all
not one thing, nothing. The whole time you've been here.
You've been longer than me.
That's right. You've been in every office in here now. You've been in every office in the building. We know that. In fact, you ought to have your own office down here.
Well, they said the same thing about you and your twin brother. You remember that?
Mr. Mayor, it's time to go. They both have on the same color shirt, so they brothers there. They argue back and forth. Come on, Mr. Mayor, I got to go feed my cat.
Attorney Brown. Yes, Attorney Brown. You're muted.
Not related to the motion, Mr. Mayor, there needs to be a clarification on the severance for Jeffrey Alls, that will be a lump sum payout, not a salary continuance. I'd like to adjust the motion once this discussion is completed.
Okay. Now it'll be the Attorney Brown.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, we request to revisit the motion, add and clarify that Mr. All's 4 months of severance pursuant to the Augusta personnel and procedures shall be by lump sum payout.
So moved.
Second.
Voting.
Mr. Clark,
No.
Ms. Davis. She's out. Mr. Fenoy,
Yes.
Mr. Franham,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett. He's out. Mr. Hassan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias, Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams, Mr. Marion Williams.
Yes.
I don't think we have, that motion fails with Ms. Davis, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Sias, Mr. Dennis Williams out, and Mr. Clark voting no.
Ms. Clark, we owe them the money. We got to pay him.
So, Attorney Brown,
You as well, did I pronounce your name correctly?
we're at the original.
Okay, I have a camera as well.
So, I don't know what your posture is regarding this matter, but
Well, I believe that based on our policy, I believe that it will happen. I just wanted to clarify that's what it was. I'm not sure a vote was necessary. The only alternative is we would pay him salary continuation, which would be much more costly to the city. With lump sum payout, the money comes to an end. But I believe that is the default position.
Brown, Mr. Mayor.
hold on a minute. Let him finish. Attorney Brown, are you done?
Yeah, I believe that is the default position. I was simply asking the commission, I was simply pointing out to the commission that is how the money will be paid out. I do not believe a vote is necessary. However, if the commission wants to vote, of course it can.
Well, I mean, I guess my question to you would be, why did you even bring it up then if you could have just administratively handled it? We just kind of throw a monkey into the wrench. And we had already adopted a measure and move forward. So there's no reason to bring it up. I mean, you could have just handled this administratively working with HR and the administrator's office. So I'm going to go back to the issue that the commissioner from the 9th raised. I think the broader concerns is how we as a city is doing business, and more importantly, the business at hand and who's doing that business. I look forward to us fully engaging in that conversation in 2021 It's been a longstanding concern. The flyer, while, you know, it's a private group, I think the issue or the implication is around who's involved in that and moving forward. So I don't think there's any other business before us. I want to wish everybody a very safe and a prosperous Merry Christmas. And I look forward to seeing each of you soon.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner from the 5th.
I just want to tell Ms. Bonner something. Are you listening, Ms. Bonner?
Yes, should I be? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was talking to Commissioner Franham earlier today. He said he's going to do his swearing in on the 5th, right before the meeting. I'd like to do the same thing on the 5th.
Yes, sir. All right, then I'll get with both of you for the details.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Uh,
Are we gonna stick with the 5th? Mr. Mayor, are we gonna stick with the 5th to have a
Yeah.
meeting, or we gonna move it?
January
I
5th.
can hear you.
January 5th, we're still meeting.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. All right, everybody.